Hey, this is Jill Simonello with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and today I am looking at the bZ4X from Toyota. This is an all-new electric vehicle from Toyota, and we've already done a detailed walk around of this vehicle, so we're not going to do that here. Instead, what I want to do is I'm going to tell you 5 good things and 5 bad things about this vehicle, and then I'm going to tell you some brief driving impressions, and we'll close it out with some nuts and bolts. So let's take a closer look right now. So let's just jump right into my like list, the 5 good things about the Toyota bZ4X. And I'm going to start with my driving position because I'm going to tell you, when I did my walk around, I was really skeptical of how I would be able to sit in here and be able to see the gauge cluster behind the wheel, because the steering wheel moves up and down, but the gauge cluster does not. And so my biggest fear when I sat in this during the reveal is that the top of the steering wheel would bisect the gauge cluster and I wouldn't be able to see my speed, you know, my distance, my range. I wouldn't be able to see anything back there. But I don't know what they did between the reveal and the actual debut of the vehicle, but it might have to do with the steering wheel position, but I'm able to move it down far enough that I have a really good view of that gauge cluster over the wheel. And that was a primary concern. So this 100% makes my like list. That is one of the best things about this vehicle, is going to be the driving position. I did have a driving partner who was 5'10", so on the more average male side of the things, and he said his visibility and driving position was also really good. So the second thing on the good list, or the like list, is going to be the actual ride and handling of this vehicle. I thought it was really nimble. It has a fast acceleration, and it was really good. And I mean, yeah, okay, those are all things that you'll see from an electric vehicle, but I think Toyota did a great job of making this feel good without making it too sporty or too boring. And we'll get into that a little bit more in the driving impressions. Now, the third thing on the like list is going to be this right here. I really love that they have this open console area, because this is a great storage place for a purse, for grocery bag, for takeaway, for running shoes, I don't know, whatever you want to put in here. The fact that it's right here and this is a pretty accessible location gets a big thumbs up for me as well. So the fourth thing on the like list is going to be the available rear heated seats. As somebody who spent a lot of time freezing in the back seat as a kid, I really wish we had rear heated seats, and it's an available feature, but the bZ4X has it, so also a really good thing. Now, the final thing on my like list is going to be this right here, and it's not necessarily the infotainment system itself, though this is the next generation Toyota infotainment system that you see coming out in Toyota and Lexus vehicles. What I like about it is the voice prompts. So I can say something like, "Hey Toyota.
What do you want to do?
I'm cold.
Setting the driver's seat temperature to 73 degrees.
And it makes it a little bit warmer in here. But it also does other things like, "Hey Toyota.
What do you want to do?
Take me home.
I found 2100 North Coast Highway 101. Would you like to go now?"
No. And by the way, that actually is not my home, and that's the hotel I'm staying at. But you can set your home, you can set your destination, and you can do it all via voice prompts. However, I have to say, my favorite voice prompt is going to be this. "Hey Toyota.
How can I help you?
Tell me a joke."
A cheeseburger walks into the bar. The bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve food here."
And it says, okay, maybe this will make you laugh on the screen while it's doing it. So I love the voice prompts. It does everything from navigation to HVAC controls to telling you a joke. So those round out my like list for the bZ4X. moving on to the bad things, or the things that I don't like on the Toyota bZ4X. Now, I have to be honest with you, I really like this car, so it may appear that I am picking a few nits here, but let's just dive right into it. So the first thing on the do not like list is going to be the fact that black is the only standard color. Any other color that you want on this vehicle, you are going to have to pay for. So black is free, but red, white, gray, you're going to pay about $500 for. I really am annoyed by that. I hate it when automakers do that, so that's the first thing that's on the do not like list. The next thing is going to be the interior materials. While I'm totally fine with these leatherette seating surfaces, this right here, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like how it looks. I don't like how it feels. And to me, that looks kind of cheap. This is a limited trim, and you will have this on the XLE as well as the limited trim. And yeah, yeah. So that's number two. I don't like any of that. The third thing on my do not like list is going to be this moonroof. While inherently I like a moonroof, this doesn't open. It is a dual pane fixed glass moonroof, and you have a bar running through it. Why can't it open? So I would like to have an opening operable moonroof. Now the fourth thing on the do not like list is going to be this right here. So housed in this is a charging pad, a Qi wireless charging pad. Great idea, but I found that I had to take my phone out of the case in order to get it to work. So I put it in there with my case on, and it would start charging, and then it would fall off. And I'd move it around, and it'd start charging, and then it would fall off. And so the only way that I found that it would consistently charge my phone is if I took my case off, and I don't like that. Now, the final thing that I don't like about this vehicle has to do with its electricalness. I don't know how you want to say it. Electric EV-ness? Maybe we'll say EV-ness. This is an electric vehicle, and I think because this is an electric vehicle, you should have solid one-pedal driving. And Toyota kind of compromised a little bit there. So they have a button that you can press right here, and this will switch you between basically two different pedal modes. And one is just your normal, I feel like I'm driving an internal combustion engine vehicle. You coast, you use your brake, you stop, whatever. But when you press this, you get a little bit more of an aggressive regenerative braking. And you take your foot off the accelerator pedal and the vehicle will slow down, but it does not bring you to a complete stop. So you're missing out on a lot of extra brake regeneration, in my opinion, by not having the complete one pedal driving system. So you can get more aggressive braking, but you actually have to use the brake pedal if you are going to come to a complete stop. And for an electric vehicle, I want the one pedal driving. So I don't know, that maybe all of those things, those 5 things are picking a few nits, but those are the 5 things that I didn't like on the bZ4X. Let's jump into some driving impressions. All right, I just wanted to give some quick driving impressions. And if you've driven an electric vehicle, you're not really going to see anything that's crazy special or different here. You know, this is Toyota's bread and butter electric vehicle. This is not supposed to be sporty. It's not supposed to have performance. You know, it's just supposed to be a people carrier that also happens to be electric. And I will say I've driven both the front-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive models. So the front-wheel drive is single motor. It gets 201 horsepower. That's what this is right now. 201 horsepower is just fine. Then I've driven the all-wheel drive model, which is 214 horsepower. It's dual motors, and that is also really nice. I have to tell you, I didn't really notice the difference between 201 and 214. And in terms of an electric vehicle, this does what you want it to do. It's fast and peppy off the line. It's great on the highway for passing maneuvers. And I find this vehicle to be fairly nimble. So bZ4X, you may not like the name, but it drives pretty well. So not a lot to tell you in terms of my driving impressions. I've been behind the wheel for that much time, but overall, first impressions are very favorable. All right, so as you can tell, I generally like the bZ4X. I think Toyota did a great job with this, but let's get into the nuts and bolts. How much is this gonna cost? How long does it take to charge? And yeah, what's the range? Okay, so let's start with the pricing. So for the base XLE with front wheel drive, you're looking at about $42,000. And of course, then you're gonna level up from there. If you wanna opt for the limited trim with all-wheel drive, you're gonna top out around $49,000, $50,000. All right, so $42,000 to $50,000, that's how much this is gonna cost you. And by the way, Toyota is gonna be running out of their federal tax credits, so I really wouldn't count on that for this. So what you see is what you get here in terms of pricing. Now let's talk charging. So this comes standard with a plug that will plug into your wall in your garage. You can totally do that if you're not going to need to add a lot of range, because by the way, if you use a 110 volt plug, yeah, you're looking at about 55 hours to get to a complete charge on this vehicle. Now, if you have a level 2 home charger, which I think anybody who owns an electric vehicle should have, you're therefore looking at about 11 hours to get to a complete charge. Now, if you have some range on here already and you're not completely depleted, it'll probably be about 9 hours. So level 2 charger, you're looking between 9 and 11 hours to get yourself back up to a full charge. All right, DC fast charge. You're on the road, you're taking a road trip. How long is it gonna take you if you're trying to get, from Chicago to Louisville, Kentucky and need to stop along the way to charge? Well, DC fast charge, that's gonna take you about an hour. They said under an hour, but I don't know if that means 59 minutes and 59 seconds or something significantly less than that. So just plan on a really long cup of coffee if you need to charge while on a road trip. So this does not have the ultra fast charging capability that we're starting to see come out in some vehicles. It's just a fast charge. Range. That's going to be the final and most important thing that you want to know about this vehicle. And the most range that you are going to get out of the bZ4X with the front wheel drive model is going to be about 250 miles. If you go with the all-wheel drive version, you're looking at about 228 miles. That's going to be the most that you can get. Now, you're going to have some small variants between the XLE and the limited trim. So the XLE is going to be lighter and have less content. So that's going to be the one that's going to get about 250 miles of range. You're going to have more content. It's going to be heavier with the limited trim. So that'll probably be around 240 miles with the front wheel drive model, about 222 miles of range with the all-wheel drive model. So that's pretty par for the course. That's what you're looking at. So we've got pricing, we've got charge times, and we have range. Yeah, that's all I got. So thanks for watching, and make sure you check us out on the web at pickuptrucktalk.com, and I will see you down the road.